comment, like, and subscribe. Hey, what's up YouTube? So this should be the intro to the video, I guess. I've already finished the car. I'm gonna go over everything about this car, what was wrong with it, what I fixed on it. And yeah, it's a twin turbo 3-valve. You don't see many of these. And this is a kit called turbokits with a S.com. And it's their twin 50mm turbo kits on it. It's a T25, I believe, size-wise. But the only thing we're going to do later, I'm going to tell him to buy some heat shield that sticks up here on the firewall and put a turbo blanket at least on this turbo. To be consistent, he might as well put them on both. But those heat shields I don't like. They seem to transfer heat across. They don't do much to keep the heat around from there. And because this is so close, I'd like to put turbo blankets on it. I put this on it, which helps vent the valve covers. When it showed up, they were leaking. There was nothing here. I hooked the line up. I had to change the AC line. It was busted and won't leak and was leaking. Putting on a vacuum. I fixed that, put a new line on it, rerouted it, made a little contraption there for it, and just other little stuff. Put caps on the lines there so they wouldn't be trashed. Put in brand new fog lights and wired it. Wired up all his lights down here, made them work. Changed the radio on the inside. Got rid of his CD6 that was killing the battery. Adjusted his boost pressure so it should have a little bit more boost, a little bit more power. Adjusted his tune so the electric fans come on a little lower. They were turned on around 200 degrees. I lowered that down, and the AC works cold. It was blowing out 33 degrees. So now I'm going to put the top back up and go drive it, see what the changes in the boost controller make. It was making around 11 pounds of boost. It should be making around 13 now, I was thinking. So he should leave here about 13 pounds of boost. Should be a rocket ship for him. And yeah, so hope you liked the video. Talk to you soon. I have a friend of mine's car that just got dropped off. This is Linwood's car. Last time you heard me talk about Linwood, it was his black 97 GT that was so loud and rowdy with the Vortex supercharge. You might remember that test drive. But this is his other car. This is his California Special that he's had for many years now. And unfortunately for the last couple of years, it's been in shop jail. What I mean by that is it had a shop that was trying to do work on it and it kind of got pushed around the back burner. Anyway, he finally got it back. It is a built 3-valve engine with some kind of Detroit rocker cams, I think, or something that he was telling me. A weird twin turbo kit I've never seen, where one turbo's up here and one's back there. And it's got the intercooler here. So the shop put it together. Another shop tuned it. F and Rowdy, if you know F and Rowdy and Caleb. I used to work with him at Fastlane. At his shop, he dyno tuned it and got it all dialed in and running good. And it's at low boost and made like, I don't know, 550-ish horsepower or something at like hardly anything boost. But it's a pretty cool car. It's super low and I can't get it on my lift, so I got to go get some wood, put under here, drive it on the wood so I can get my lift under it. It's got this Cervini's bumper, which is cool looking. And the problem is it hangs real low. I told him he should look into air ride so he can raise it up. But the reason it came to me was a couple things. One, he doesn't have a prop rod. We got to figure out how to make that work. Two, with this new bumper he's got all these fog lights and he wants me to make them all work. And he wants to keep his factory fog lights too. So we got to make those work. We got to make these work. And if you notice, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 fog lights that he wants to hook up. From sitting for years, of course, it's nasty. This is how he keeps his cars. They're normally real clean. And he's got a bunch of other stuff he'd like for me to look at while it's here. Got it up on the lift. Of course, I had to use some wood to get it up there and help it. But here's a bottom side view of the intercooler and the piping and all that. And the fancy K-member. There's the blow-off valve. So pretty much what you expect. It's like the pipe was rubbing close, so they put a little piece of rubber to kind of keep it from banging. That's all right. Custom brackets made by Andrew at the Fab Lab to hold everything on properly. And these are the fog lights got to hook up, and then these are the PIA fog lights I got to hook up.
There's nothing there.
No?
So maybe they went down that way and just haven't come back.
Okay.
All right, I'll be back.
Nice pants. Say hi to all your boyfriends today when you out running.
Hi.
All right, check it out. Got the lights working. They only work with the key in the forward position. And here's where I mounted the switch. So you push that button, it goes red, means they're off. Push it again, means they're on. And only works with the key on. So if he ever forgets to turn them off, they'll go off with the key. So it won't kill the battery. Turn it off, goes off. Ran the wires through the firewall, tied them into here. Here's the relay, grounded it. And now the bottom work as an independent circuit from these. So if he wants, he can turn those on. If he doesn't, he can turn on just the factory fog lights. All right, just got through putting wipers on. Driver's side's a 22A. Passenger side's a 20A. Pretty easy. Unclip, slide it out, put in the new ones. Here's the old ones. As you can tell, they are definitely worse for the wear, set up for years. See, pop these little plastic retainers off, pop this up. It's right here. Grab it, pull it out. If you look at that, that is absolutely filthy and probably original. So I've got a new one coming, it'll be here tomorrow. What we want to do, we're going to look down in here and see if it's dirty. And it is. I'll take my vacuum shop vac and I'll vacuum all that out. All right. So just some more things to get this car ready to make it absolutely perfect. All right, so if you couldn't tell the difference before, new cabin filter, original cabin filter. This is the part number from Wix. Get it on Amazon or your local car store. About to pop this back in and that part will be completed. Alright, and here you can see I've got my 1/2-inch heater hose. I had an angle there, put that on, make the transition. I got little plastic inserts, adapters, put a clamp around it so it won't blow off. These are super tight, they run over here. Gotta make sure you have enough clearance so it doesn't touch the alternator, which I do. Tied up and then over here. So what happened now, both breathers are now connected between the valve covers, equalize the pressure. And then when this comes in, it's going to be a filter that vents the atmosphere under boost, but then it works like vacuum with a check ball any other time. So that's going to be great. And you don't have to add any extra catch cans or anything. Should be good to go. All right, so check it out. My vent came in for the valve cover, and this came from valvecoverbreathers.com. You can see, looks like your normal filter with the right adapter here in, but if you listen, it has a check ball in it. And you can see it there. So what happens when you pull vacuum, it acts just like a normally closed system. Then when you make boost, it pushes up the check ball and lets it ventilate out of this filter. So how you put it on is real difficult. You just unscrew this and you screw this in. Just like that. Okay, piece of cake. And now it acts just like your normal ventilation system when you're making boost. All right, so while I'm waiting for some parts to come in, one thing I have to fix is this radio. A very common problem with the Shaker 500 CD6 radios is they start going bad. The CD unit in there keeps clicking, trying to move and shake CDs around. And what it does is it just kills the battery. I got the battery unhooked right now because it was draining the battery. So he's got a nice subwoofer and amp in the back. So what I did is I ordered a radio and an install kit, and I'm gonna take this out. So first thing you wanna do is you go in here, you open up the center console like so, and there's two Phillips screws, one right here and one right here. We're gonna remove those and then we'll snap this up and out of the way, and this will come out. I'll unscrew the shift knob and take the leather boot off, and then that console will come out of the way, and then we pull these pieces here off, and when they come off then we'll have access in here to the screws that hold the radio in. So we pull these off, access this, pull the screws out, we can pull this out, and then I'll go through wiring in the new radio. So pretty straightforward. Just want to show you real quickly what I'm doing. All right, so I didn't have to unhook the shifter, just undid the boot and twisted it sideways. Comes off. Like I said, these side panels just pop out and lay them to the side. And now I'm going to take these screws out here to remove this cover. All right, some various things to unplug here at the top and at the bottom, and then 4 screws, and then you can grab this and literally pull it right out. I'll go ahead and disconnect it and get this thing out of here. As we continue the upgrades to the 07, here's a radio I got for him as a replacement and the install kit here. And we're gonna go put this in the car now, but this is the Sony AX3200. I run one of these in my Mustang. I like them. They're great. You can add a backup camera if you want, but it does Bluetooth and Apple CarPlay really well. All right, I got my install kit here. So here's the wiring harness from the actual radio. This is the adapter kit. Basically, you match up your diagram from the radio and from the adapter kit, make sure it matches. Then you got to tie all these wires together. I'm gonna do heat shrink and solder, make it all real nice as a harness. So that plugs into the back of the radio. This plugs into the factory car harness. There's a microphone here that I can run, and this thing has a USB on it and these other adapters here. So I'll get it on. I've already put the face plate on there and the mounting bracket ears here. They're ready to go. The one modification, these brackets, they come with front and rear. You cut off the rear that you don't need. And this is ready to drop into the hole once I get the wiring harness done. So it should be pretty easy plug and play. You just gotta take your time, hook these wires up. Positive is a solid, black stripe is the ground. I'll get all that done. All right, so I tested it, got it all working. I made the harness nice and neat, soldered and heat shrink all the connections, put some tape around the wires, keep them neat. And with this connection here, you do have to tie the 2 blue wires together with white stripe, tie them to your amp turn on here. And it is a mono to the amp, so I need one of these connections. So I taped up one that goes to the subwoofer out. And then you got a reverse camera. I'm not using that. This is for the park and brake signal. This is an extra USB port he'll have for like charging his phone or whatever. And then I got a microphone which I'll plug into here. So I'm gonna go start running this in the car. I've already had it in the car, made sure it worked. It powered up the subwoofer in the back and actually sounds really good. One thing I want to explain to you, if you ever put a radio in your car, like a factory system, and when you turn it on, it pops through the speaker, that is always back to too much voltage on the amp turn on. So the amp turn on out of this Sony is 12 volts. And the amp turn on from the factory Ford radio is around 7 volts. So that's why it's popping, it's too much voltage. So what we want to do is we want to take the feed line out of our radio turn on that goes here to turn on the amps, and I'm going to put a resistor in line. Now I started off with a 2.2K resistor, and it dropped it from 12 volts to 6.5 volts, which is just a touch low. I want to be back at 7, so I'm going to go, I've got a 2K ohm resistor here, and what you do is you just split your line and you put the resistor across, solder it, heat shrink it, and what that does, it takes the 12 volts and drops it down to 7 volts, and you're good to go. You might be wondering where I got these resistors. Just get on Amazon and order you some 1/4 watt 5% resistors, all different values, just depending on what kind of project you got going on. But that's all you need to do. It drops the voltage down enough that when you turn on the amps, it doesn't pop through the speakers. You can thank me later. And this is the final product. You can see that. Resistor in line, heat shrink here. Now I just pull it up and over like this. And it's nice and neat. I'll take my heat shrink and heat shrink that. Good to go. Alright, so today I got some Cervini's hood struts, because this is a Cervini hood, as you can see there. And when it came to me, I had to use my stick here to hold the hood up because it had no prop rod, because they took it off, and simply because it was hitting this tube. Don't know where it ended up. But I told the owner, you know, they don't have a hood latch here anymore. They got to use hood pins. So the best thing to do is just put the shocks on it. And what better company than the company makes the hood? So we got the right parts for it to work. So here they are. I'm going to put those on, and then he won't need a stick to hold the hood up, which is crazy. Anyway, we're going to get this thing fixed up a little bit at a time. All right, to finish up the project, you have a bracket here. There's a left and right. One bolt holds it down. You have a bracket here. That one points out, this one points in. You put your bottom shock on first, then you either squeeze it down or push up on the hood and pop it in. So there's that one. And I've already done this side. There's the upper bracket and the lower. So we'll come on here and you just pop that on like this. And then we go up here, and I need 2 hands, so I'll push it up and connect it. There we go. So now the shock's on and tight. And now we'll remove the stick, and just let me get that out of the way, then we'll shut it. Check it out. No more rod in the way. Nice and clean. Actually holds it up higher than the stick did anyway. They always tell you to cycle it a few times, you know, new shocks and everything. Cycle it like that. I like to do about 5 times just to make sure. There we go. And again, he doesn't have a hood latch, so we'll just put the hood pins in here when we're ready. But you notice it doesn't push the hood up. It doesn't really stick up. It's still flush. Looks great. And then when he pulls his pins, he does this, and nice. Much improved. So I just backed it out because it was smoking. So you see it's smoking now. I'm hoping that clears up a little bit when I drive it. But it had been smoking before, and it had a bad turbo, but you can see that. That's pretty bad. Not good. But we'll go out for our test drive and see if we can get it to clear the code so the pass inspection. It's making about 11 pounds of boost, but man, a lot of smoke just came out the back of this thing. Turbos sound pretty good. I mean, it runs pretty good. The air fuel when you roll into it's about mid-low 11s. Yeah, about 10.5, 11 pounds of boost and about 11.5 air fuel, so nice and safe. Nice and safe. All right, per request, went to the car wash, sprayed it off under the hood as gently as I could if I get water everywhere on the motor. Went ahead and sprayed the car off as well. It just needs a good detail, which I can't do with my shoulder, but at least now we got a little closer. Alright. Well, seems to be running good. I didn't get any water in to keep it from running. Man, I forgot the air don't work. Let's go ahead and get these windows down. As you can see, the smoking's gotten a lot better. All right, so the new fog lights are in, everything's back together, looks really cool, everything works. The only thing left is the AC line that's cracked. It hasn't come in yet. It was supposed to be here today, but because of a Juneteenth, it got delayed till tomorrow. But I'll show you how it works. You turn the key forward, turn these on and pull it. And now you've got the new fog light with the ring. Works great. These down here are on a separate button. I think I've showed you before. Come right here. When it's green, that means they're on. We'll do that and they're off. And you hear the music connected to my phone playing the ghetto. And the bottom are off now, so you can just run those if you want, like factory. If you can hear that bass, I think sounds pretty good. I made some adjustments. It could go up just a little bit more, but I don't know how much bass he likes, you know. Either way, not bad. All right, I just got back with the car. Basically 20-minute drive there and 20-minute back. It is 90 degrees today and humid. And I want you to see something. This is how hot the firewall is. There's the turbo, 400 degrees. Firewall, 300 degrees. This thing needs some blankets on it. Clearly this one up here has the chance for more airflow. You can see the fender there's only 200 degrees. Turbo's like 350, but back here it can't get any flow of air. And so at a minimum, I need to put turbo blankets on this thing instead of that shield. And what would be cool, even though he's got vents, they're really small in the back of the hood, he can really stand to put some louvers in this thing to get the heat out. Even the fender louvers to draw some air in or something, I don't know. But what he's got here is uber hot against that firewall where we're gonna try to fix the air condition. You can see there it doesn't have a lot of ventilation. So I got the AC line off. You disconnect it, this end goes up there and the other end goes over there, and I couldn't get out because of turbo, so I took a saw and cut it in half to get it out. But this is the culprit. This is the part that was right under the turbo. Somebody put heat tape on it, but look at this when I pull the heat tape back. There's a ginormous hole right there. Yeah, so that's the problem. It was too close to the exhaust for the turbos, and this isn't all metal, that is rubber in between the metal. If it was metal, it would have been fine, but it's not, so that is garbage. All right, been waiting all week. Finally got the AC line in. I mocked it up with the old one. Clearly it's not exactly the same shape because I cut it right here to get it out of the other one. But this is where the problem was. Let me turn this over like that so you can get an idea. So that's the original shape. This had the factory like tape around it and try to help it. You can see what happened to it being so close to the turbo manifolds. It just burned it up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this new line, I'm gonna try to improve it. Let me throw this back in the trash again. So what I'm gonna do is I have my own heat tape here. This is Thermo Shield. I use this on a lot of stuff. I'm gonna wrap this even more so than what they've got. Wrap it up good there, perform just another layer of protection. And then I took an old license plate and I started cutting it and forming it. I'm gonna put this around, squeeze it down and put hose clamps around it, and that's gonna give me yet another heat shield from the rubber, because the rubber part near the heat is what the problem is. All right, so I wrapped it with heat tape real good. Then I took my license plate, made that little thing that goes around. Looks crazy, right? But you'll never see it. Now my biggest issue is getting you into the car where it's not gonna hit on anything. But that should at least give this rubber hose a fighting chance to last longer than it did. The line's on, and a down and dirty trick, take your air compressor, hook it up here, turn on your gauges, pop it with some pressure, and look at that. No leaks. Because previously with that line blown, it would just pull right out. So what we'll do is we'll pull this out, bleed off the pressure, down to 0. Perfect. And before you say it, oh, you could have moisture in your air and all this. Yeah, you could. I got a filter on my stuff, which is fine. But also, I got to pull a vacuum anyway because it had a hole in the line. Let's be honest. It ain't going to hurt no more than it is. So I'm going to pull a vacuum for a solid 45 minutes to an hour. And once I do that, I'll turn it off, make sure it holds vacuum, which I'm sure it will now. Then I'll be able to start putting some Freon in it. So go figure. We identified the problem, we found the issue, I got a new hose, I rerouted it where, so anyway, there it is now. I've got a space between the pipe and the line now, and I put the license plate around it as my heat shield there. And I had to reroute the line a little bit. It's not exactly in the factory spot where it's supposed to be because I want to try to get it away from under all that heat. So it kind of kicks the line up here a little bit, which is kind of, you know, aggravating. But we have to keep this line from burning up. So you know what? I'll take a little bit of ugliness where the pipe comes around here by the brake booster over another failed line and no air conditioning when it's 90+ degrees outside now. All right, I got my vacuum pump on. I put this on just to keep the smoke down a little bit, you know, go through the towel like a filter. And as you can see, it hadn't even been on a minute, and it's already pulling 30 pounds of vacuum on the cold and hot side. And what you want to do is you want to open both valves up and suck through it continuously for at least 45 minutes. Then you can turn off the high side if you want. Keep pulling the vacuum, turn this off, make sure your connections are good, and let it sit here for a few minutes, make sure it doesn't leak, which it won't. And then you unhook it from here, hook to your can of Freon, and then you turn on this valve slowly and it sucks the first can of Freon in. And then you can go ahead and start the car, put your other can of Freon in and start watching the gauges and get your pressure where it needs to be. Follow your manual. For this one, I'm going to look in the 40 to 45 pound range here, down here. And this side should be around 200, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. Nice and cold, which is awesome. First time I've been riding the car with the windows up because it's been so hot. Okay, that hit about 11.5 pounds of boost. What I wanted. We're good now, and it definitely feels stronger. Yeah, between 12.5 and 13 pounds. Not bad. Oh yeah. Turn the air conditioning back on and we'll go back to the house. He is ready for the challenges. It actually runs really good too. Let me turn the air back off since it's got to pull out.